Okay, now we've made it to the tap harmonic section in Electric Gypsy. Now, this is basically just a melody that is tapped in harmonics 12 frets higher. So, just to explain the technique, if we have, say, the 7th fret on the D string here. Now, that 7th fret, and if 12 frets up from that, it'll be the 19th fret. So, directly over the fret itself, directly on top of it, you tap it. It's just kind of popping the string really quickly directly onto the fret, and then you come straight off of it, and it creates that harmonic an octave higher than the actual note you're playing here in the left hand. So you basically are just going to mirror what you do down here, but tap each one of those notes up 12 frets. So just visually, it should be pretty easy because the the fret markers should be the same up here than they are down here. So I'll have a fret marker at the 7th fret. Well, I have one at the 7th fret after the double dots here. So that's a good way of just making sure that you're always tapping exactly 12 frets higher. All right, so this little section, here's the first phrase. All right, so we're going to start here at that 7th fret on the D string. Now you can tap with your first finger. I believe he actually taps with his middle finger. My index finger has a kind of a harder callus on it, so it makes the tapping come out better. So I use my first finger, but if your second finger is up for it, go for it. So we have 7th fret on the D string, tapped 12 frets higher. Then come over to the 7th fret on the G string, tap it and bend, and then do it again, and release the bend. Come back over to the 7 on the D string and tap that. Then we're going to have this 16th fret tap, the 6th fret, and it's harmonic tapped at the 18th fret, 12 frets higher. So I think you get the concept of what we're doing. We're always just tapping 12 frets above the note. Then come over to the 7th fret on the A string. You're going to tap that note and slide up 2 frets. And then you're going to tap the 9th fret, right where you slid to. Then come over to the 7th fret on the D, tap that and slide that up 2 frets. Then come back down to the 9th fret on the A string, tap 12 frets higher, and slide it down 2 frets. And then come and tap the 5th up 12 frets up from the 5th fret. Twice. So far we have this. Then you're going to tap that 5 again, hammer on the 7th fret, and then come over to the 6th string and tap 12 frets up from this 5th fret, and slide it up 2 frets. Okay, now the next phrases are going to be like this. All right, so that's coming back here to the 5th fret on the 6th string, tapping 12 frets up, then over to the 5th fret on the A string, then down to the 2nd fret on the low E string, tapped 12 frets higher, and do a slight half-step bend and release. Then come up to the 5th fret on the 6th string, tap, hammer on the 7th fret. Come over to the 5th fret on the A string, tap that note. Then you're going to tap the 7th fret and slide it up to 9. And then play the 4th fret here on the A string. So we have this. One more time. Okay, so we have this so far. Okay, so now we're going to tap. Let me play this section one more time for you. Just so you can hear the phrasing of what we're going to be doing here, because the phrasing is just a little bit, it's not, you know, continuous. So so after that tap on that C sharp there, we're going to tap the 7th fret, slide up 2 frets, tap the 7th fret on the D string and hammer that on at the 9th fret, and then come over to the 7th fret on the G string and tap that. Now we have, now that's at the 9th fret. You're going to tap it and do a whole step bend, then do it again, but this time bend a step and a half, and then do it again and do a whole step bend and release and pull off to the 7th fret. So we have whole step bend, step and a half, then whole step bend and release, pull off the 7th. And then we have this quick little phrase where we're going to go tapping the 7th fret. It's going to tap 7, hammer on the 9, tap 7 on the G, and then tap 9 on the D. So I'm just tapping 12 frets from all the fret markers that I'm calling out. So we have, all right, now making our way up, we have this. So that's a little bit harder to get out because that's up on the B string. So we have tapping 7, 8, and slide up to the 10th fret on the B string. Then you're going to tap the 8 and do a whole step bend, release, tap it again, come down to the 7, and do a hammer on the 8 and pull off back to 7. And then come over to the 9th fret on the G string. Then keep going. You tap the 7 on the G, and then the 8th fret on the B string again, whole step bend again, and then again, and release it. Then tap 7 on the B, up to 10. Now if you only have 21 frets like me, you kind of have to eyeball where that 22nd fret's going to be. And then the 7th fret on the G string. So look at this. Okay? The next phrase is going to be like this. So that's just going to be over on the D string, tap 7, hammer on the 9. Then tap 7 on the G, come back over to the 7 on the D, tap that, slide to 9, back down to 7, back up to 9. And back down to 7, so we get this. Resolve it back down to that 7. And now you can do pretty much the exact same lick, just strings down on starting on the A string. Same frets. So we got this. Then we have this phrase. So that is tapping the 9, pulling off to 8, then tapping 9 again, then tapping 7, then 9, then tap 9 again, do a whole step bend and release, pull off to 7, come over and tap 9 on the D. Then we're going to end the harmonic section by tapping 8 on the B string, then 7, and then 7 over on the G. Okay? So from there we go to the bridge section, which is going to sound like this. It kind of starts off with some that takes us back to the theme again. So let's go through that really quick. We're going to start with some muted string strums, and then hit the 6th string 4 times. Then we have an E power chord off the 7th fret on the 5th string, and then the 2 9s on the D and the G. You're going to bar the 7th fret across the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. Pick those 3 strings, then add the 8 on the 2nd string. Come down to the 5th fret, the 2 middle strings, the D and the G. Hold the bar across those. Then you're going to slide up from 5 to 7. And then pick those 2 notes again, the 5th fret bar. So we have this. Then we have this kind of Hendrixy thing, which is you're still holding the bar here across the G and the D strings, but you're going to add your 7 on the D string, and you're going to pick those 2 strings, so you have 7 here and 5 on the G. Hammer onto the 8th fret on the D string, back down to the 7, back down to the 2 5s, hammer on and pull the 5th string, the 7th fret there on the D string, and then end it on the 7th fret on the A string. So we have then we start it over. Now this is going to be a little bit different ending. Now we're going to do a quick little hammer on from 5 to 7, and then come over and play those 2 5 bars, and then jump up really quickly to the 18th fret, and you're going to be holding the 18th fret on the high E string, and on the B string you're going to be bending the 21st fret up a whole step. And hit that a few times. Alright? So it goes. Now I'll keep continuing. Now this 3rd time through is exactly like the first time. And then we have the ending, which is going to be this. So that's going to be the open string 4 times, the low 6th string 4 times, then slide from 5 up to 7, and then pick the 5th fret on the A string, then do that same. Now pick the 3rd fret on the 6th string 4 times, then do the same thing, slide 5 to 7, and play that 5 on the A string. So we have this. Then come over and pick the 5th fret on the 6th string 4 times. Slide now this time 7 to 9, and then over to that 7 on the A string. And then we're going to end it with, that's a hammer on from 9 to 10, then play 9 again, 7. When you play that 7, do a hammer pull from 9 back to 7 and end it on the 9th fret on the low E string. And that takes us back to the main theme again. So after the second time of playing that main theme, right there on that, once again going like we did going into the harmonic section, we ended on this note on the A string, the 10th fret, and that leads us into the first guitar solo, which we will take a look at in the next video. Stay tuned.